The What's Neat This Week video podcast is supported by enthusiastic model railroaders just like you. Additional support is provided by Athearn Trains. Check out all their new monthly announcements at athearn.com.
Additional support for What's Neat This Week is brought to you by Soundtrax, industry leaders in model railroad sound and technology for over 30 years. Now please visit our website at soundtrax.com, and at checkout, be sure to use the promo code WNTW15 for 15% off of your purchases. And while you're there, be sure to check out our YouTube channel and other information that we have on our website to help you get more familiar with Model Railroader Reader's Choice Award winner 2 times for Favorite Sound Decoder.
Further support is provided by the NCE Corporation, the power of DCC. Visit their website at ncedcc.com. And thank you for supporting the What's Neat This Week podcast. This is the What's Neat This Week, show number 128 for September 5th, 2020. I'm your host, Ken Patterson, the host of the What's Neat show over at Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine. And this September video just came out, and it's a really good one. We talk about Garden Railroad and design and building. I lay the cement out there. We actually demonstrate how I did my roadbed on this railroad. Plus, I also go through the entire 19-year learning curve that I've gone through of garden railroading. So it's kind of an interesting segment. There's a lot of other great segments in that video, but I want to get right away to the point of who we've got as special guests tonight on show number 128. And that is Jim Wiggin, the brand new brand manager for Athearn Trains. Jim, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ken.
I've also got with me Matt Gentry from Athearn. You know, Matt.
That's me.
That's right. You've been on many shows before. All the way from downtown St. Louis, I've got Joshua Sugarfire Barton with me tonight. And we've got Ed Dressel on the end. Came all the way from Colorado to be on the show tonight. Ed Dressel, we love you, brother.
Thank you very much, Ken. Feelings mutual.
So Steve Hurt sent me some really cool photographs this week. You'll remember on last week's show, we had that 86-foot tangent boxcar. Remember that? Those cars sold for about $54 to $58 retail, as I understand. And Monday, one of them went for $212 on eBay. So here's a freight car that's quadrupled in its value, so you guys made good investments on that. But Steve Hurt sent us some photographs of the beautiful Southern boxcar, all weathered up in Steve Hurt style. And he wanted to share those with all the viewers of the show. I've got 5 or 6 great photographs of this Southern boxcar, top shots and side shots. He's absolutely amazing at his weathering. He also did, stunning is the word.
Yes, very much so.
He also did a DT&I 86-foot tangent boxcar. And that too, he did a great effect of fading the freight car with the white oils and then adding the rust. Again, Steve Hurt is a magnificent weatherer. We've seen all of his work at the St. Louis RPM meet. Every year he comes and surprises us with great models, except for this past year because we didn't have that show.
Does this mean that Mike Buddy's going to weather his?
I assume, yeah.
Yeah.
I know, right?
We'll get Mike Buddy into all this one way or another.
That's right. That's right. He may not be here tonight, but...
Speaking of the Garden Railroad, it's been 4 years since I've colored the decks out there, so part of the process of upkeep is, of course, to maintain that railroad out there. And this week I stripped the deck, getting ready to put a new coat of green before October's cold temperatures fall into place. That should be done in the next 2 weeks. And the last thing I've got on my list is I put in that TCS speedometer on the layout. It's called a Train Speed 1. That's going to run in the November What's Neat video, how I did that. It's going to be kind of interesting, but the amazing thing about it is how accurate it is.
Really?
I built it into the fascia of the layout, so it looks really nice. Everybody can see it as their train goes by, and it's very accurate. So hats off to TCS. I was really impressed with that. And without further ado, gentlemen from Athearn, you guys have got some really cool models on the table tonight. What's going on here?
Well, back in June, we announced the P42s, and I brought Matt, since he has done all the work on these, mainly internal, right?
Yeah, most of the work, improvements on these rather, were The internal improvements, we added sound to it with the full-featured Tsunami 2, representing the GE sounds and everything like that with the HEP mode, so on and so forth. These have the Genesis motor in them now. These have a new die-cast underframe on them, which is, I would easily venture a guess to be about twice as heavy as the
That's
previous
fantastic.
frame.
Oh, yeah. Very
Because
nice.
that was one of the biggest comments, if you will, about the previous P42s,
Sure.
is just their lack of pulling power. So that was one of the major upgrades we wanted to take on with this project. And, of course, with the underframe is the sound. These have dual 28 millimeter speakers in them.
Fantastic.
We have updated them to full LED lighting, including the front and rear marker lights.
Ooh, very nice.
And then just overall detail improvements. So front and rear pilot, all the MU cables, all the train lines, all the MU receptacles, the 480 volt HEP receptacles, cut levers, plows with grab irons, all that good stuff that the industry has just become known for.
They're beautiful. Yeah.
Then, of course, antenna updates for prototype-specific antenna arrangements, and then underframe detail improvements, air piping and air dryers and air filters and that type of good stuff. So just an overall nice refresh and update to the model. It's still the same shell that everybody knows and loves for the P42, but just overall general improvements that we really wanted to see the model to keep pushing it over the top a little bit. So
I also shot some video run by of this thing running out in the desert scene. Let's show that clip. I demonstrate the horn as I'm creeping along at about 12 or 14 miles an hour, making a clip for the October video, which I'm going to put in October What's Neat. But man, these things look fantastic in the sunlight.
Yeah.
All your detail is absolutely just exemplified perfect. I love it.
yeah, thank you.
The other thing that we have tonight is we brought a couple of the ICC cabooses. The Union Pacific one really does shine.
How about
A lot
this
of work.
nighttime shot?
Yeah.
James Regier and I took this out
Absolutely
Thursday
beautiful
night
pieces.
and lit it up with the Illinois lights on the water diorama outside.
There
And
you
the
go.
lighting is amazing. And I did not light the interior lights. These have interior lights in them as well, don't they?
Yes, they do. This is again, a full-featured Tsunami sound card decoder in the sound versions. The non-sound versions, of course, come with the NCE mobile lighting decoder. But the both decoders, for that matter, have 6 lighting functions. They are fully customizable, programmable. The lighting features that somebody may want, Mars light, gyro light effect, that type of thing. And then brightness is adjustable as well.
And these are prototype specific as far as the lighting goes. And
Yeah.
You talked a little bit about the unique marker lights that are on the cupola for the UPs.
Right, and so that was one of the things that we worked really closely on, was to get the number of light functions available for the UP cabooses, because in that caboose alone there are technically 5 light functions.
Really?
Wow.
So you've got
Didn't
the
know that. Yeah.
interior lighting, and then you've got 1 red LED on each end of the cupola and 1 green LED on each end of the cupola. So there's your 5 light functions.
And what's the prototype purpose of that?
I asked somebody that yesterday. Do you know that answer? Because I'm curious.
So what I've been told, and this is from former UP employees, and I believe it's from the UP rulebook at least, is, of course, the red marker is to protect the rear of your train.
Yeah. Yep.
So that would obviously be going in opposite direction of travel. But the green marker is for whichever direction the opposing train is coming from to make the pass or to go around it. The green light is lit up. If there's one coming from the rear, it would be the rear green, or if there's one coming from the front, it would be the front green. But the green is lit up to let the crew on the oncoming train know that the switch is locked and lined for them.
It's that they've got a clear signal.
Correct.
That's fantastic.
Correct.
Okay, great clarification.
So on the cabooses that are equipped with end marker lights, so the red light essentially, that is controlled like a headlight. So that's on function 0 and it's directionally controlled. On the UP with the green light in the cupola, that is controlled with, I believe, function 3 and function 4. So those are independently controlled out of the box.
Very cool.
But all of the lighting can be controlled and changed with a CV to be controlled independently or do whatever lighting effect you may desire.
Great prototype feature.
Yeah.
That's neat.
Now, something I'm really excited about is we announced the Dash 9s last month. We've got some pre-production
Yeah.
samples here. I'm going to have Matt take it away here in a little bit, but these are Genesis 2.0. These are probably the most authentic Dash 9s you're going to find in the market right now. How many years of research were involved?
So overall, I've got 3 years into this project. We began the initial research in July of 2017. I remember talking with upper management at the Orlando NMRA, saying, you know what, I think it's time that we bring the Dash 9 up to the Genesis level, because there's many variations that have not been done
Sure.
in plastic or
Absolutely.
not have been done well or correctly in plastic. So it's like, you know what, everybody's on this hyper detailed, accurate detailing kick now, as modern model railroading is.
Sure.
And I mean, this is a heck of a time to be in model railroading.
Yeah,
if you ask me.
absolutely.
Yeah, it is.
But whenever we were talking about it, it's like, you know what, I think it's time for a Dash 9, and so let's get to it. So I started as soon as I got back from Orlando researching this project, and so I've got at least 18 months of research into it, and then I've got the 18 months back and forth with my engineers, getting all the details correct for, you know, like the Canadian CWL variations with the four-piece windshield. You know, the Norfolk Southern nicknamed top hat variations with the standard cab Dash 9s. You know, BNSF with the gull wing cab. Chicago Northwestern with the reinforcement bulge on the trucks, and the low number boards, and just all the different details that set these things apart. Because whenever you look, if you looked at the roster spreadsheet that I created, they're all different.
Sure.
You know, it's
Yeah.
little itty bitty
Wow.
nuances.
Yep.
That's amazing how you get all the variations like that. You make
Right.
it look
Yeah.
easy, but can I touch it? I want. Am I allowed?
Careful.
That's my
Dude.
favorite.
I mean, the hood of
Canadian
this
I mean,
one, the
check
hood of
this
that
out.
one.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, some of the
I mean, look at all the brass
Look.
parts.
Look at those walkways.
Right.
I started kiss bashing that when I was probably 22, the
Yeah.
Canadian version, based on your blue box.
okay. And see, this CWL variation, this is
Yeah.
the first time this model is available
Look
in
at
plastic.
that.
Remember the show we talked about drilling holes and putting in the
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
the rungs going up?
Yeah.
These are all straight.
That is just stunning.
And that's the four-piece
It
window
is.
in this one, too.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
dude, this is amazing. I can't
Yeah.
believe this.
So,
It's better than brass. I used to call this plastic brass, but
It-
there's got
it-
to be
it's-
a word that encompasses something above that at this point.
Yeah. It definitely superior detailing.
well, and that's where the Genesis 2 comes into play. I mean, all LED lighting.
With a chain.
In this instance, this one has
Wow.
operating marker lights in the nose,
Yep.
headlights, number boards, ditch lights for the BC rail, the rock lights, and then the ground effect lights above the front truck.
Seeing one unpainted like this really brings home
Yeah.
the amount of detail here.
I agree.
I want to
does.
shoot some very good close-ups of this before you
does.
leave. This is amazing.
Sure.
I had no idea all these little different parts.
And again, I keep forgetting all the different stuff that's in it, but I mean,
Sure.
spinning roller bearing caps, dual
Yep.
cube speakers for the
Yep.
sound.
Oh, these roller caps spin? Wow, check it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Yep. And like you just
Wow.
mentioned, Ken, the brake chain on the other
Yeah.
side
Yeah.
is
That chain
actual
is amazing.
Yeah.
link chain. It's
Yeah,
not
you
molded
should
up.
not-
It's gorgeous. It
It
really
is.
is gorgeous.
So
Last time I tried to pass them out around, nobody wanted to touch it.
Yeah.
And I probably shouldn't either, but you can't appreciate it unless you finger it up and look at it up close
Yeah.
with two pairs of glasses.
So hats off to you guys.
Yeah.
Job well done.
So yeah, I mean, 3 years. I mean, it's been a long time coming. I mean, everybody asks, why can't you make X? Why can't you make Y? And why can't you
Yeah.
get it here tomorrow? It's like, well,
A lot of work goes into them.
a lot of work goes into it, and to please all of the hypersensitive modelers out there, we want to make sure that we get it right. So we make sure that we put the time and effort to do it correctly.
Now, as your normal trend has been, you're going to do like the weathered versions and distressed as well? or-
Oh, prime
Yeah.
for grime.
So-
How cool
Yeah.
is that?
And actually, there is one Prime for Grime version in the first run.
Oh, yeah. There you
One
go.
of the BNSF Heritage 1 units,
Okay.
number 1050. I'm not sure the true backstory, but it has Heritage 2 BNSF on the hood
Right.
on the BNSF Heritage 1 paint
Unique.
scheme.
Unique.
And so
I like
we've
it. Yeah.
got a different color green for the base, you know, to represent, you know, sort of faded.
Yep.
And then we've got that yellow BNSF lettering on it.
Oh,
Wow.
I love that.
Yeah.
Nice work.
Ken, that's the great thing about Athearn. We're not all just employees. We're actually enthusiasts. We have a passion for
Yeah.
model railroading, and as you
I
can
was
see,
going
it
to
comes
ask
out.
you about
Oh.
that. Jim, tell the folks out there about Jim. Jim Wiggin, you have a passion, and you
do.
actually love N scale, don't you?
I do, but my eyes do not as much as they used to.
So you're going to start doing HO.
I'm going to have to start doing HO since I do prototype switching operations mainly.
Oh, yeah.
You brought some models tonight.
I did, yes. These are some models that I did a few years back, starting with the first one. That's a Boston and Maine GP9 in the Alan Dustin era of the Boston and Maine. Just pulling out of bankruptcy, they simplified their paint scheme from that really cool McGinnis blue, black, and white. This was back in the days when I had eyesight. That has lift rings.
I don't know why we're laughing.
Grab irons, all
Yeah.
that good stuff. So for its day, almost 20 years ago, that was a full detail locomotive, custom painted and detailed. Next to it, my other passion is, besides the Boston Man, I fell in love with the Burlington after moving to Illinois. It's a really cool railroad, and of course that's what gives us our modern day BNSF.
Yes.
This is a Jeep 30. It was used in the promotional picture Century of Progress in Galesburg back in 1964, if memory serves me correctly. This was one that I did for Galesburg Railroad Days a number of years ago. And again, it's got some details to it. It's got the lift rings and the grab irons, things of that nature. And then moving up a little bit closer to modern day, I don't know how many folks are familiar with the Chicago Central, but it was a
Yes.
spin-off of the
yes.
Illinois
Yep.
Central.
Yep.
They mainly had Jeep 10s, Paducas, things of that nature. They did have a few GP 38s, like this one here. This one was my first one putting fans in an N scale. It's
So
actually
you
got
tricked
fans.
these out.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
tried to
they are
fully
cool.
detail them. They've got grab
Nice.
irons, and my layouts tend to be high, almost at eye level, so it looks like you're rail fanning when you actually, are operating the railroad. So I like to have a lot of detail.
That's a good idea to keep it right where you
Yeah.
can see it.
Right. And then the last one, kind of keeping in theme with the Burlington route stuff, the Montana Rail Link. It's a rebuilt from an SD40 that was originally the CNS. Montana Rail Link rebuilt that probably in the 90s, and that's probably one of the more modern units I've done. And again, lift rings, grab irons, windshield wipers, appropriate horns.
That's kind of
Yeah.
hard to do in N scale.
You know, it's hard to believe, but at one time, Ken, I did that without any magnification whatsoever. I was about 26, I think, when I did that.
Yeah,
Not so much anymore. But, so yeah, I've been doing model railroading since I was a kid.
Those
and
are beautiful.
It's a passion, like you said.
Good for you, man.
Yeah, that's
really
great.
good.
And you've had modules here at the RPM meet in St. Louis, and I've seen your modules, and your modules are just incredible.
Oh, thank
the
you.
detail that you've had on them.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's it's something all of us, I think, at Athearn have. We have a passion for not only just doing model railroading, but bringing to everybody else what we see on a daily basis on the rails or what we want to see on our layouts.
Yeah.
And so Matt's attention for detail is obviously shown with the Dash 9. Again, I don't think you're going to find a Dash 9 as detailed
Yeah.
or as accurate as this one.
Amazing.
Dude, that's awesome. You do great work, and you're my new boss.
Even better.
I know. How
That's
about that?
right.
Joshua, you got something really cool you wanted to talk about tonight. What
I
you got
sure do,
going
but
on?
first I want to give a couple shout outs.
Okay.
Working full time again at the store, and I had a couple people that came in to have some lunch, and I just wanted to give it a shout out. And the first one is to Ed Dressel.
Man, I could not stop by. Oh my
Right
God.
on. And the second was to a watcher named Dan and his son. They stopped in today and had some
Fantastic.
sugar fire, and they said hi. So I'll give you guys a shout out too. Thank you for watching. And I want to talk about something that is near and dear to a lot of people's heart, and that's John Allen's Gory and Defeated layout.
Yes.
And the NMRA, something dropped into their lap. So most of everyone knows the story that John Allen passed away in 1973, and within days of his death, his layout completely burnt down, and there was nothing left of it. It turns out that John's brother let two young boys from down the street come in and take whatever they wanted. So these two gentlemen have been sitting on all this stuff for all these years,
Wow.
and have now donated some of it to the NMRA, and they're going to auction it all off.
Wow.
So starting September 15th, 2020, we'll start the auction, and it ends at midnight on October 30th. And there's 40 items. You can go to the NMRA nma.org/John Allen auction, and you can check out all the stuff. And some of it is really, really cool. They have a few engines. We'll put up a couple pictures and some old books, things of that nature that they're going to be auctioning off. And I mean, it's heritage stuff.
This is model railroad history.
This is
Right.
this
Yeah.
is history.
So this is the stuff, these pictures here?
These pictures are the
And this is
entire
all on the
lots.
website?
You can all check this
So there's
out
like
on the
different, there's 20
website.
different things.
40 different
There's
things.
40 items, box cars, tank cars.
An NMRA yearbook from 1959 that the bottom's a little charred, but the rest of it
I
is.
see a tunnel porthole from the layout here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A Gorian defeated 282, number 42 with tender. There's no trucks on the tender, but it's
Again,
some
it's history.
This
amazing
stuff's gonna
stuff.
go, this will go into a
These
glass
are
case.
artifacts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
How cool.
I believe they're doing an auction where you can't see what the other bidders bid.
Okay.
So at the end of on the 30th, then you'll know if you have been the winner of these items, and you need to go on the website and check it out because it's something that is art.
He was,
Special.
he
It's
was
history.
He was such an inspiration to me because he showed that you could do ad photography for the manufacturers in our small industry. I call it small, but obviously it's not. But relatively speaking, it was amazing to me that you could do ad photography to the various manufacturers and actually earn money to do it, actually try to make a living doing it, which I started to do back in the 80s and turned it into a business. And it was because of the work that I saw John Allen doing. Some of the things that he would try,
Oh,
the
yeah.
winter shots,
Yep.
he tried the nighttime photography that he used to experiment with.
Yeah.
He was truly a great photographer.
Cutting edge at his time
At his
too
time.
for the early 70s.
But an
you know?
exquisite modeler as well.
Absolutely,
Right? Yeah, the content
absolutely.
was just always good.
He was
Yeah,
a
so-
trendsetter before he was a trendsetter.
Yes,
you know,
yeah,
really.
Absolutely. So this is something that I thought I would let everyone know about, and you can own a piece of history. How cool would that be?
It's amazing.
It would look good
Actually,
right on
that
your
would
shelf.
be really cool to own something like that.
Yeah, I agree.
But I'm telling you what, you talk about, I bet that stuff's going to bid up high.
Oh yeah,
It should.
I'm sure.
It should. I hope it does.
Yep. So nma.org/John Allen-auction. Go check everything out and look it up and down.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people always ask all the time, why do you guys always have these box cars on the table and you never talk about them? Joshua, where do you get these box cars from?
You get these from our friend Derek, and he's at
We get these from ValueTrainsUSA.com. Thank you, Daniel. I didn't remember it either, but we never talk about them. But he made all these different varieties of What's Neat box cars. Here's one that's really coolly weathered up. And the fact is, they're available, and a lot of people ask in readers' comments, how do I get one of those? ValueTrainsUSA.com, guys, if you want a What's Neat car. And if you weather it up and send us a picture to our What's Neat This Week Facebook page, I'd love to see them weathered up.
absolutely.
So, yes, you can own your own part of the podcast. I don't know where to go from there, gentlemen. Ed Dressel, I'm glad you came tonight.
Thank you
How
for
are
having
things
me, Ken.
going?
Things are
I
great,
understand you
you know.
also picked up some of those tangent box cars, didn't you?
A few. Yeah, and an unduck style, right? That's just
35
who I
of
am.
them?
35 of them. Yep, absolutely. So, hopefully those will be coming soon, and I get to play with them a little bit. But that's an exquisite car. It's nice to see them in person. You know, Mike Buddy, saying that name again, bringing him into the show. He had a few here, and they are just absolutely beautiful cars.
He's
So,
amazing.
good piece to the missing freight car fleet. You know.
Yep.
Yep.
Job well done, Dave Leilbach.
Oh,
David
yeah.
Lyabach. I talked to him this week, and he is just he's such a nice guy. He has come out with so many different freight cars. I want to say he said 14 or 18 different types of freight cars that he has come out with.
At least, yeah.
That's quite a few.
And I mean, they're also exquisitely well done. I mean,
Yeah,
that's just
absolutely.
Dave's
Yes.
attention to
Yeah.
detail, you know.
Yeah. But they keep complimenting the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
Well, and that's my era. I'm going to put the chat out there right now. So, yep,
So
absolutely.
you need UP cabooses.
Well, I do. And I will be getting some. Trust me. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, that's fantastic, guys. You know what? Is there anything else we want to talk about on the table? One last go around. Got everything covered for the Dash 9s, the
Yeah, we-
P42s. I love Jim Wiggin and your beautiful N-scale
Thank you.
models,
Yes,
Joshua,
very nice.
Ed Dressel.
Thank
Guys, this is show number 128 for September 5th, 2020. And you know what? We're going to take our NCE throttles now, and we're going to go run some trains.